after the last seminar, we thought nutrition, what do people want? What do you need? What are the tools that will help make your life simpler? And so the strategy was, okay, let's model a successful day. Let's model someone's day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night and see what they do. What do they think? What do they behave? Or how do they behave, rather? What do they eat? What are the time brackets between those hours where they're nourishing their body? So hopefully this is a blueprint and a framework for you guys to get an approximation of how to live a healthy lifestyle as well. Now, let me render a caveat here, and that is, this is a framework, so please, there are some principles that we're going to talk about, like sleeping. Don't take this literally, and what we mean by that is that with the sleeping component, if you're working from home, then certainly adopt that approach when working from home. We don't want you rushing off to the car and having an hour power naps or anything. But this is all based on our research as well. So there are no real formulas for success, and the most successful people, the healthiest people, tend to have habits and principles which work for them over a period of time. And Mark and I were talking about this the other day, in that we all get derailed, and we get derailed, and the idea is that we want to come back online. Successful people, no matter whether they're in business, relationships or health, have the ability to return back instantly. Donald Trump, when he's broke, he knows how to get back online as well. And Mark, you want to share a little snippet that happened to you recently in terms of that derailed project?
Yeah, well, we were on the plane on the way to Sydney to see the guys up in Fahkry in Sydney, and we were just discussing about the past couple of weeks being quite stressful for myself. And I know what it's like, guys, when you get thrown a few curveballs in life and things get quite stressful, we just seem to lose our way. So the challenge is to kind of have a reset button, kind of like your default setting on the computer. You know, when everything's going wrong, you go to virus, you go default, hit the button, and it resets your computer. And that's what we kind of want to start, is have a framework for you guys that we start over the next day with a set of principles that we can come back to when we kind of fall off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, fantastic. And so again, it's about getting back on track. So whenever, and I'll put this quite politely and in a really casual way, whenever you stuff up, guys, get back on track. Start a new day afresh. Don't think that, oh, it's all gone weary, I've got to just drink that bottle of wine tonight, oh, stuff it, it's all gone haywire. Just stop where you are, examine yourself, connect mind and body, and go, okay, what do I need to do? How do I need to get back online as well? Today we've got a special guest, Gavin Freeman from the Business Olympian. Gavin is a corporate leadership expert. He's going to talk to you at the end of this seminar about how to put these principles into action and create some goals and set some goals for you guys to continue on this path as well. And he's an expert in that area. He's worked with a number of corporate executives and also Olympians as well. So these are the contents of today. What we're going to do is break up the segments into morning, mid-morning, lunch, afternoon, night, and then the goal settings. If you have any questions, please write them down as we're going along, and we'll devote 15 minutes at the end to answering those questions as well. So if there are any aha moments, quickly jot them down, and we'll get onto them for sure.
Okay, has anyone heard of circadian rhythm? Basically, our body has its own internal clock. So it's kind of like a hormonal cycle where the day starts from the morning, where it's kind of like the waves of the ocean. As the tide's coming in the morning we have a rise in cortisol. Now, cortisol is a stress hormone. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but what it does is it gives us some, it makes us mentally alert, it gives us energy. So generally by, say, 10 o'clock in the morning, we're at our highest state of alertness. So that's when you want to be really hitting your straps at work and being quite productive. Does anyone notice the times that they are more productive throughout the day? Yeah? In the morning? By lunchtime, in the afternoon, we're generally at our strongest. And then later in the afternoon, the waves start to recede out. Now, as the cortisol starts to drop off, what do we generally try and do? Generally, we try and pep ourselves up a little bit. We head down to Milky Joe's, we have coffee, and we try and push ourselves through the day. And does anyone remember that picture from the last slide? It was the lady just crashed on the desk with a coffee next to her, exhausted. that hypoglycemia, that's generally around 2:30, so that's when we're a little bit sluggish. And then later on as you go through the night, at about 9 o'clock, melatonin starts to secrete into the body, which is your natural sleep hormone. So what we're suggesting is that the framework that we're coming back to, or these set of habits, are a way of getting back in track with your own natural body clock and not fighting it. That's what we want to roll through. Okay, so possibly if we were going to set up our day, this is the best place to start. Sleep is possibly the most important part of our day. It basically regulates every single hormone in the body. So everything from your appetite to your stress levels to your cravings. So when we're exhausted, what do we normally do? Starting in the morning, if we have a bit of a flat day, we generally try and pep ourselves up. And has anyone noticed how with sleep, if we get 4 hours of sleep, you feel great in the morning for about the first half of the day, and then the second half is just rubbish? We really lose productivity. So that's part of the cycle. And there's a great book which I've added here, a book by the name of T.S. Wiley. It's called Lights Out. And what he talks about is that we live in sleep deficit. So we're all averaging about 6 hours a day. Now, in the early 1900s, we averaged about 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Now we're lucky to get 6. So if you average that out over a year, it's about 730 hours of lost rest and recovery. So what that's doing to our body is it's basically triggering us to have a cascade effect. So, you know, we're getting more overweight, we're exhausted, we're living on a high stimulant diet, and it really is fed by sleep. So if there was one recommendation that I get back to, it's sleep in line with your body's natural cycle, and then also sleep in line with the season. Now, also in the book, it talks about that we should sleep in line with seasonal light exposure. So in summer, we've obviously got we've got more sun, we've got less dark, so we don't need to sleep as long. Now, research shows that about 7 hours is about optimum in summertime. But in winter, obviously got a lot more darkness at night, and we should aim to get close to 9.5 hours of sleep. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but if you guys have a look, you've got a little journal there which talks about sleep. So it's kind of a tick list. So how do we get a good night's sleep? Now, it's a hard question, but what I always start with, guys, and I encourage my clients, is to start incrementally. Don't feel like you have to get 9.5 hours of sleep and just throw yourself. Because generally most people get that on a Saturday morning when they're exhausted by the end of the week and they just sleep in on the weekends. But we can't really catch up on sleep. So just start by chipping away at it, and it becomes a habit. So if you start with, what's the average time? About 10, 10:30? Is that about right? Try to get to sleep a half an hour earlier and just make that a habit. And after about 2 to 3 weeks, you'll find that if you can set yourself up for that, you will sleep longer, and within 3 weeks it's a habit. And really fight for it. Create a relaxing environment. Does anyone notice that when they're under fluorescent lights, they're really wide awake? It would be argued that in the last 70 years of our evolution, that the light bulb, the advent of the light bulb and electricity, has been the single one biggest thing which has created weight gain in society. We stay up because we're under the lights. So late at night, there's no reason to have your house lit up like a 7-Eleven and be running around the house and getting everything done, and you're buzzing, and then you go, I want to get to sleep, but I just can't. So try and create a relaxing environment. How do we do that? We just dim the lights. So does anyone have light dimmers? Do you use them? Yeah. The other way is just, either some candles, or I use a Himalayan salt rock. I don't know if anyone's ever seen one. You can actually buy them at markets.
St Andrews markets, good health food stores.
Health food stores. It basically is an amber light. So the whole idea is it relaxes the body. So instead of sitting there in front of the TV, or in front of the TV where you've got a blue light coming at your eyes, what that's doing to the brain is it's saying, stay awake, stay alert, stay stimulated. 30 minutes to an hour before bed, you can set yourself up with some good habits. Things like reading, having a shower or a warm shower. Anyone do these things before bed? Yeah, a warm shower will set you to sleep. Reading a chapter of a book. That's been my challenge this year, is to try and read one chapter every night. It's a struggle, but you've got to squeeze into your night and make it a habit. And meditation. Meditation is something that I do through yoga, so I don't know if anyone's ever thought about taking on yoga as a discipline. You can simply do it at home, or just stretch, or just practice breathing, or even, does anyone have a foam roller? Anyone ever seen those in the gym? They hurt? If you just start, okay, so the long log like type, you can actually lie and just, you've been sitting in this position all day, just lying on your back and opening your chest up will definitely relax your body. And then we can finish off with a couple of supplements, and we'll talk about these later, but the first one is a probiotic, which is a good healthy bacteria for your gut. People usually think of Inner Health Plus or Yakult. Both those are probably not the best quality. We've suggested a supplement called Polybac 8, and we'll have a look at that later. And the second one's magnesium. Now, magnesium is a muscle relaxant and just helps calm you before sleep. Finally, obviously based on our evolution, when we went to sleep, we slept 10,000 years ago in a cave. So try and think about creating a cave at home. So who sleeps falling asleep in front of the TV in their bedroom? Anyone? No? A couple of little hands? Yeah. These are the things we want to grab. Anything that's electronic, guys, is an EMF wave, and that keeps your body awake. So it sends electronic pulses, and it keeps you awake at night. So remove everything you possibly can to keep you awake at night, because it will. Well, has it got Wi-Fi? It's got Wi-Fi, yes. And basically just try and sleep as much as you can without either getting fired at work or getting divorced from your partner. It's your key. So your new mantra is 9.5 hours of sleep for the next 7 months will really set you up for success.